Need some suspension work and shocks and brakes, brake pads, lining, steering box, transmission, rear end.
Ka-chow.
Just don't see no cars! It works! I love this button!
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast, recording at you live from, Louisiana?
I have no idea.
We watched Poker Run, which is another John Schneider movie, like Christmas Cars we did on Christmas, and we're... I mean...
Son of a...
Yeah,
you know,
here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're going to play a game because we always wait 10 minutes in order to give spoilers.
Right.
We're also joined by a guest today.
Yeah, we have
silent guest.
Our first, for all of you dog viewers out there, listen,
we
dog
have one
listeners
of your
out
kind.
there. We do. We have a, what the
Okay,
heck?
I don't know
All right,
what's
so-
happening. The timer's broke. We're turning the.
All right, well, that's fine, because I'll just keep an eye on it
Poppy.
over here. So we're
Poppy,
fine.
our
We have
Portuguese
we have a
water
dog.
She's what, 4?
Our dog, almost 4 this month. She'll be 4.
Poppy, do you want to say something? By the time this comes out, she'll be 4.
She will be 4. Nope, she's got nothing to say. Is she? Oh, she's licking the microphone.
She
just
slapped the microphone.
She slapped.
So we have a Portuguese
water dog. That's right.
So we're gonna play a quick game
thank
because
you.
we
We're
normally
gonna-
wait 10 minutes.
Yes, we do.
In order to avoid spoilers.
Right.
So we don't talk about the movie for the first 10 minutes. So
and when you hear the Ecto 1 siren, you know spoilers are about to
Yeah.
come. So
we haven't
Okay,
recorded in a while.
No, it's. I think I've
physically.
forgotten how to do this. We have a little bit of a different setup and stuff, but
I recently went to Florida. Was one of the main things.
That was great. How was that? I
It
haven't
was
even
good.
talked to you. Really,
Yeah, I
haven't
know.
even, and the thing, because I'm a good dad, because I don't even talk to you. Have you been home? I don't know. What's going on?
Florida was good. Florida was
Yeah.
good. I don't like Jacksonville.
No?
Which is where I went. Not a big fan of Jacksonville.
Okay.
Kind of
Why?
dirty.
Okay.
I just I don't know. It wasn't great.
Okay.
But I went to Ponte Vedra, which is on the ocean.
Ponte Vedra.
Ponte Vedra.
I can't do it.
Which was a beautiful
accents.
beach town,
But
which
I
is
do-
where I filmed a bunch of cars. But the
that's
reason
great.
I bring that up.
Okay. Yes. Definitely. Yes.
For those of you
What's
who
up?
don't know, my day job is
Yep.
reviewing cars, and I
Yeah.
go all over the country to do so.
And what is your YouTube's type channel?
Shooting
thing?
cars. Shooting cars is my
Shooting
YouTube
cars.
channel.
Okay. Shout out to Shooting Cars.
shout out
and
to-
shout out to Paul Shin.
Shout out to Paul Shin. I know he's a big John Schneider fan.
Yes.
So this
yes,
one's for him as well.
Exactly. And
Shout out to Craig Lieberman, I guess.
for whatever.
And, but yeah, so we're gonna play
All
a
right.
game. So
All
I
right,
have
let's do it,
5
yeah.
engine sounds.
5 engine sounds.
3 of which we
5.
recorded on this Florida trip.
Oh.
2 of which
really?
I just pulled from the
Oh,
library.
okay. All right. So okay, good.
I'm gonna have you guess which engine sounds come from which
All
car.
right. That should be interesting
So-
because I really suck at this. So let's
I
see.
will.
And you can play at home.
Right. Yeah. That's
You
the
can
other
play
fun
at home
thing.
to guess what engine sounds these are.
So here are the 5 cars that you'll hear. Ready?
Okay. All right.
A 1986 TVR 280i.
TV. Oh yeah, that's right.
TVR that I filmed.
I saw the TVR. The
A
VRs.
2021 Audi R8.
Audi R. Oh, you.
Audi R8.
Okay, that's
I drove
yeah.
an R8,
That is very cool. Yes. You
A
got to do that.
2001 Porsche 911 Carrera.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Those
that
were the
sounds
3 that
good.
I filmed
All
in
right,
Florida.
Very nice.
These are from
okay.
the library now.
Okay.
2019 Mustang GT350.
Mustang GT350. Okay.
And then a
Really?
2021 Toyota Supra base.
You didn't. Yeah, you didn't drive the
GT350?
GT350. No, you didn't.
Yes, I
You
did.
did not.
Yes.
When did you drive? No.
This was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I drove
All right.
a Shelby GT350.
Okay. All right, I'll take your word.
So
for it.
those are the 5 cars.
All right, sounds good.
A TVR 280i, Audi R8, Porsche 911 Carrera, Mustang GT350, and a
Okay.
Toyota Supra base.
Okay.
So you get 1 point for each car that you
Okay.
identify correctly.
All right.
And then you get 2 points if you
Yes.
can tell me how many cylinders each car has.
Okay. All right.
So let's get to the audio clips. So
Oh, this
clip
should be
number
good.
1. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. when do I get to guess?
Well, you
want me
can
to
do
guess
it
now?
either way. You could guess after the clip, or I can play all the clips and then you can guess.
Well, I'll guess. Can I guess that one?
Yeah. Let me. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I'm opening my
No,
pen.
it's all right.
Yep. Okay, what's your guess?
I'm going to guess that one's the TVR. No? Wow, really that bad? Like I'm
trying to
way off?
write. I can't write. You're correct.
Oh, hello.
Yep.
Let's see. I did.
TVR.
All right, so
how
the
many
TVR.
cylinders does that one have?
Cylinders. That one has. Let me. Okay, if I can think about that sound again, because I can tell.
Do you want me to play it again? I can play it again.
You know, you don't have to play it again.
For the viewers at home. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
It's a 280, not a 200.
Oh, it's a 280, so it's a 8-cylinder.
Nope.
6-cylinder.
6-cylinder. So I'm not giving you
I was
points
gonna, I was gonna say 6-cylinder.
The
that
car
was,
was
on the
meant to have a 8-cylinder, and
Okay.
overseas in England they got 8 cylinders, but here we only got the 6. So
So that was a trick question. You said, "Oh, it's a 280." Didn't you say 280?
because it's a 2.8 liter.
okay, all right.
And then the 200 is
fine.
the 2-liter 4-cylinder
all right.
option. So that is clip number 1.
Okay.
Audio clip
All right.
number 2.
So I got one, right? I know this one.
My terrible shift there.
I got this one.
Yeah?
That's the Porsche.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you are...
All right.
Okay. And how many
It's something
cylinders?
about cylinders. That one is a 6-cylinder.
Yep.
All right. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. Because I could just tell.
Yeah.
I have no clue, by the way. I just want people to know that I don't know what that is. I can't tell. I can't tell cylinders. I didn't already say the Audi R8, did I?
No.
No, I would
You still have the Audi R8,
Okay.
Mustang, or the Toyota Supra.
I'm going to say the Toyota Supra.
Very impressive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Total guess, by the way. I'm like
how
putting
many
my hand over.
cylinders?
Total guess.
How many cylinders?
Cylinders. So, hey, Poppy. All right, I'm talking to the dog right
the
now.
dog is walking around.
So I would say that it's 4 cylinders.
Wow,
Okay,
good.
thank you.
All right, two more sounds. Ready?
All right, yeah. What am I down to as far as cars go? What do we
The
have left?
Mustang or the R8?
Mustang.
Wow.
So
I'm impressed. So here's
That's
the
it.
last sound.
Okay. That's an R8? Seriously? That's cool.
By the way,
I
that
like
was 94 miles an hour.
Was it?
Mhm.
Yeah. It was. And that was in. Yeah, you like that sound.
Third gear, fourth
That
gear,
was
fifth
in.
gear.
That was in the 94 mile an hour speed zone that you.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh wait, you didn't guess how many cylinders the
Oh,
Mustang
and
had.
and the Mustang, 8-cylinder.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the R8, how many cylinders?
The R8, I'm going to say that has 8 cylinders as well.
Nope.
No. What? 6?
10.
Oh, jeez, 10.
10.
All right, fine. I totally messed up that one. I did poorly.
So,
I did very poorly.
wow, you
Yep.
got, was that 11 points.
That's hilarious because I didn't think I would get one.
You got every car correct.
I didn't think I would guess one. Seriously, I did not think I would guess one
To be honest,
correctly at all.
I didn't think you'd guess one either. So, I am
Thanks,
very,
son. Thank
very
you for
impressed.
Thank you for having so much confidence in your dad. Okay, we're not even at the time yet, but
I don't.
God,
I mean,
you want me to just? Okay,
Yeah,
let's.
there it
I'm
is.
pulling the.
Pull the
Okay,
trigger.
it's time for spoilers. As we all know, that sound of the Ecto 1 is the sound of the spoilers. Poppy, you're gonna have to go over and talk.
Poppy, come
Poppy,
here.
go see your brother. Go see your brother. Poppy
here.
goes. Oh, good boy, good girl. Oh yeah, you
Come
good
hang out
girl.
with me. There
Who's
you
a
go.
good girl? Okay,
That's what
that was
Poppy has
Poppy.
to say to that.
That was for all of our dog listeners
Yeah.
out there. Oh, who's a good girl? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay.
She's having none of it.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Because we're the only ones in the house right now, so
Yeah.
she's lonely. So she
Right.
wants to be down here and
Yeah, she wants to
wherever.
hang.
Actually, we're not. We're in Louisiana.
We're in
the bayou.
We're in the bayou. We're in the bayou.
Okay, so now actually we've pretty much reached our time.
We
so,
watched
okay.
we watched John Schneider's poker run. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say before we get into anything else.
Yeah.
Entertainment is subjective.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I say this with all of the cars that I review too, because
Yep.
I will sometimes hate a car or dislike a
Yep.
car, and people will be like, "Oh, that's the car I got my first kiss in,"
Yep.
or "That's the car that got me through college,"
Yep.
or I've even had people comment, "I lived in that car for
Yeah.
a while, so
Yeah.
they're special to me." That is 100% personal.
Absolutely.
And you
100%.
have every right. And
Absolutely.
Entertainment's the same way. If you thoroughly enjoy something,
Yep.
no one
Yep.
should stop you from enjoying that. And,
Yeah.
it's all about what makes you happy.
That should honestly be the disclaimer for this entire show.
Yeah.
Everything that we do in this podcast is completely subjective. For instance, Rush. I'm going to bring up the movie Rush.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that movie. I hated that
Yeah.
movie.
And
And
if
so
you-
totally subjective.
And if you love Rush, we don't
Right.
hate you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I loved Rush, so
I know.
I'm,
it's
I'm on board with.
I know.
whoever that is.
Well, you're on board with most people
Yeah.
who have ever seen the movie. So
but
yes,
I remember we did a previous John Schneider movie,
Yes.
Christmas Cars.
Yes.
And Paul Shin, our good
Yeah.
friend, commented.
Yeah.
And he said that he's a big John Schneider fan.
Yeah.
And that it really reminded him of the older Duke Boys.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Episodes.
Yep.
And
Totally agree.
It has great entertainment value for
It does.
Paul. And I think Paul should definitely enjoy these movies and
Yeah.
watch them and have them
Yeah.
and own them. And,
yeah.
it was very nice to have that other perspective, too, because
Oh,
I didn't
definitely,
grow
yeah.
up with
Totally
the Dukes
agree.
of Hazzard, so I didn't
Totally
have
agree.
that perspective. And the same goes for my car reviews whenever people.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something, Poppy?
Poppy's like sticking her face right in your face. But truly, yeah. I mean, it is great to have other perspectives, and hopefully someday we'll have Paul Shin on the show.
Yeah,
that would be fun. But I did appreciate that, and when we watch these movies too. By the way, at the end, there's a lot of people that comment actually in the movie itself, like how much they enjoyed being in the movie and all that good stuff. And I think
It's fun.
yeah, it definitely is. There's no doubt
However-
about, yeah. However, yes,
To us,
to us, it was.
This movie was terrible to me.
Exactly. Me too. It was really from a. So I'm just gonna give the.
Yeah.
It's again, you can love it. That's great, and a lot of people did, and I'm just me and whoever. But yeah, for me, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it was.
I don't
where
even
do
know
we
where to
begin?
start.
Start.
Jeez.
Start.
I can't even talk.
That's what this movie did to us. It
Yeah.
actually messed up our brains enough that, So and that is truly actually that's dialogue from the movie. Is
Okay, let's start there.
Okay,
The
all right, so,
dialogue
yeah.
and sound.
Okay.
There's a lot of mumbling.
Was there sound design?
They
Yeah,
didn't mic up certain people.
No.
A lot of it was filmed off of iPhones. Literally in
Yeah.
the bloopers, you see them filming with iPhones.
You do, yes,
Um,
absolutely. You absolutely see them.
And for
filming.
someone who struggles with differentiating sounds,
Yeah.
I've always struggled. I remember Mom got a
Me
note
too.
home
Me
in
too.
3rd grade because I wasn't learning anything.
Yeah.
Because my teacher would talk so fast and the kids at my table would talk that I couldn't
Right.
differentiate
Yes.
who was talking, and I just zoned out.
Well, I think Poppy just nicely put her paw on your arm, like
Yeah,
she was
wants more
commiserating.
attention.
Wow,
We're
but
podcasting, Poppy.
she's
Leave us
commiserating
alone.
with you, and she's like saying, "I understand."
Oh, yeah,
That's what she was
thanks.
saying.
Yeah.
I understand,
Yeah.
and she
Thank
wants
you.
to, she
Hold
wants
my
to
hand.
extend that.
Thank you.
She kind of looks like a baboon sitting there.
She
From
kind of
this
does a
angle.
little bit.
Yeah.
I've
Anyway,
always
so
thought
yeah.
she looks like a teddy bear sometimes.
She does
in the
yeah,
face
she's
a little bit.
She's good.
Um,
So
but-
we have but you're right, and you get that from me is that differentiation or lack of differentiation when literally two or more people are talking.
Like at a
especially-
loud
yeah.
bar, I'm
Yep,
like, can we go home?
yeah,
Can we go
exactly,
outside?
yeah.
Like,
I'll put in my
um,
ear canceling or my
yeah.
ear canceling, my sound canceling,
yeah.
earphone. By the way, did those work for you on the plane?
Yes, I loved the
Wasn't
the
that
noise
good?
canceling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out to actually the iPhone, iPod, or the earpods,
AirPod.
the AirPods. What?
The ear poods. The you were gonna land on it eventually.
Somewhere, but
I got the
AirPod.
AirPod Pros. You have the Pros, right?
I do.
And
they're-
with our $151 million from Spotify, we bought AirPods.
And Apple is not a sponsor yet.
The
We're working on
transparency
it.
setting was really nice.
Yeah, it is.
When I
It
heard
is
the
very nice.
intercoms
Very
for the
nice,
plane.
Yes,
very nice.
yes, actually, very, very nice. And so I really, side note there, but yes. So the voices. Let's talk about voices, here.
Right, which I know this isn't the perfect podcast because we often talk over each other, differentiating voices.
Right, exactly.
But
we never talk over each other. What are you talking about?
Okay. I'm sure. Yeah, you're probably smashing the dashboard
Right.
of your Kia Forte right
Shut
now.
up, Gary. Shut up. Anyway, yes.
The sound design was really bad, and especially there's a lot of Southern accents, a lot of Southern draws.
It was hard to understand. That was a thing to me. It was hard to
yeah.
understand. I could not.
I think there were
so-
entire plot points that were lost
Yes.
due to the audio.
Yes, I think so too, and that's
which
a
is
shame.
I was
It's a
just about to say
shame.
it's a
Yeah.
shame. Like that whole bar fight scene.
Yes,
I don't know really why that occurred. He said
I
something
don't
to
know
the other
either.
guy, and they
Yeah.
were kind of going back and forth, and then a bar fight broke out, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, one person said, and then it was,
Yeah. And then that's literally yeah.
We've just reenacted
There it is.
and scene.
And
We just reenacted
and bow and hold and bow.
and yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you're right with the bar scene. I think it was just to add some fun and
Right.
into it. And again, I mean, the movie is, you really nailed it though when you said that. It was like if you had showed me this was your movie and you had done it when you were in junior high, because you made movies and stuff like that when you were junior high and videos.
During the
and-
movie, I explained to my dad, I was like, if I brought this to you in junior high, and I was like, Dad, I made this movie, this would be the best ever.
Definitely.
It definitely had, and I'm sure you can attest to
quaint.
this.
It's quaint.
Yeah.
It's cute.
You don't have to
it's-
give specifics, but I'm sure when I was a kid, I brought home some type of art project. And
You
you're like,
always
oh,
brought
that's
home
great.
art
And then
projects,
when I went to bed, you're like, this sucks. I remember there was a
what the is
Yeah.
that?
well, like I remember you made one of my drawings from like kindergarten into a refrigerator magnet.
I did.
It was on
I did.
yellow
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
That was
That's
a terrible drawing.
Hey,
though.
what's what you do as a parent?
yeah,
though,
that's the
because
thing,
it's-
though.
We support you.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's one of the, I compared a car to this the other day. I forget which one now, but it's just one of those things where it's like you like it because it's like, oh look, they're becoming a person and like they actually know how to use a crayon now.
Well, and the thing is it's been so fun to watch you and your brother grow up because you have gone through obviously all the stages of. Yeah, in the beginning, you really didn't know, and I had no idea if either you or Nick would have picked up on, making movies and all that stuff. And you both have just seriously shocked me, and my jaw drops when I know all the stuff that you guys do now and the talent that you and your brother both have. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, absolutely. First things you do, it's like, wow, that is actually like a drawing. That is something that this human being created.
Yeah.
That's my son. And so it's an awesome feeling to have that. But yeah, I mean, you look back at the stuff now and you're like, well, what was that? But
Yeah, I mean, I look
it's
back
fine.
on any movie I made
But
in
that's
junior
subjective.
high and high school. Yeah, but
It's
that's
subjective.
true too.
And so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so the audio was bad. The
Yeah, it
camera
was.
work wasn't great either.
No. Well, okay, so let's talk about the lighting.
Right.
Okay.
Harsh.
That's
At one point,
that's putting it
this
nice.
little white lady completely disappears. The bartender, she gets so washed out
Right.
with
Yeah.
the highlights and the lighting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I think
yeah.
a lot of it has to do with just like light balance in the cameras.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because there's like an outside shot that was way overexposed.
Right. Yes.
And that's not even like a lit shot. It just would have been like a regular shot.
Right.
The camera just wasn't adjusted properly to be outside.
Yeah, and I think a lot of different cameras were used.
Mhm.
So, and definitely, I don't believe from what I could see that they were not balanced, which
Yeah.
is when you balance cameras, we used to have to do this way back in the day when there was tube cameras. And you had to, when you had multiple cameras on the same shoot, what you would do is everyone would take their cameras and point them at the same color card. There was like
Right,
a
yeah.
color bar chart card. And then what you did is either if you were doing it live, you would do it live and adjust them, or you would do it in post. And basically what you would do is match up the colors. You'd split the screen using video transition effects, and you would split the screen, and then you would actually match up the colors and look at a waveform monitor or vectorscope, whatever, and then you would match those things up that way, and you'd overlay them. That is so that every shot looks the same, no matter
Right.
which camera, is you're taking the shot from, no matter which one. So you're matching the shots and you're balancing them. Well, there wasn't or didn't seem to be any kind of balancing here, so it looked like you had no idea. All of a sudden, things would change drastically. The lighting would change drastically. The everything, the chroma and everything. I mean, just colors, lighting. The blacks would be would be crushed, or they would be way expanded, and so you would have and the whites would be blasting. And again, these are all things like terms that we would use back in the video days of corporate videos and stuff, and using vectorscopes and waveform monitors and all these things. We would that would be a big no-no. You had to make sure that you weren't crushing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all of that stuff, it was like, well, let's just kind of not do that. So
yeah, and here's the thing is that like I understand not. Well, you would hope that John Schneider would take the time to color grade.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I understand not everyone has all the equipment, and this was done
Yes.
probably with little to no budget.
Right. I
Um,
understand that too, obviously. I mean, we're
But
look at us with equipment.
It's
I mean,
starting to
yeah.
when it starts to detract from the story,
Yes.
then you have issues.
Yes. That's always a big point. Yes, definitely.
And it also, I was calling it out while we watched the movie. There was so many different cameras
Yeah.
used because I use a handful of different cameras for
Right.
my work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I was pointing out, I'm like, that's 100% a GoPro shot.
yep.
That's a phone shot
Right.
because I've used those same things and gotten those same shots.
Right.
And so it was kind of funny to
Sorry, Poppy.
the dog is
Poppy
dog is trying to punch me.
She's literally reaching out and pawing his
She's
arms
the
so that
neediest dog in the world.
that she gets more
do you have to say?
petting. No, she doesn't. She's got nothing. Yeah, okay, there you go. So she's definitely a very needy dog. But
Very
yeah,
needy
so
dog.
you had many different cameras, and you could tell the different cameras. Green screen.
Lots of green screen.
Lots of green
usage.
screen, and some of it, like, you could definitely tell with the woman's hair.
Yes.
Fine, wispy hair always is an issue with green screen.
Very hard with green screen.
Very hard. And a lot of times, too, if you're too close to the green screen, you'll get green bounce off,
Mm-hmm.
and that will bounce onto your actors, and then you have
Sort of transparent
yes.
parts of them.
Well,
Because it's not fully green, but it's not.
well, it kind of fades out.
Right,
Like the transparency fades out. So you get a lot of. It is, green screen can be a really cool, great effect, but you have to, use it wisely and carefully and all that. A lot of the things we know.
Yeah.
A lot of the things you could actually do practically, like they could have had a lot of the shots in the cars while the cars were traveling, things like that. Because heaven knows the microphone and the sound wouldn't have been any different. So, so there was a lot of that. So I think really honestly what we're saying is from a technical standpoint, I mean, there's a lot of it that was, that it just, I guess I could say too, I was a little surprised that John wouldn't have wanted a better, or more, I don't know, more production quality or whatever production. What is that? Production value? What do they say in
production
Super
value.
8? Yeah,
Production
the
value.
Super 8,
Yeah. Great movie when the train's coming.
Oh my gosh.
Production value.
Right, yeah.
To try to get the train in the background of the shot so it
yeah.
looks like a real active train station.
By the way, very much, except for giant aliens, very much my childhood growing up.
Yeah, and
Super
talk
8.
about such a predecessor to Stranger Things.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I went back and watched Super 8.
Yeah, we're talking
Probably
about
about a year
we're talking
ago.
about the movie Super 8.
Yeah,
and
movie
it
Super
is,
8 starring, no one you would know.
No,
Um,
but it was. a
There's
great
one guy
movie.
in it, the dad. You know? but I don't know his name. Like everyone knows him, but you don't know his name.
That's one of those movies, and maybe someday we'll watch that movie because it's like Jeeps and stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a Ford F-100 at the beginning that crashes into the train.
They got the bus in there. There's some things in there.
We can make it. Here's the thing: we make our own rules. We did Die Hard, so pretty much anything's on the table at this point.
That is true. We did Die Hard. In fact, people have mentioned that. They're like Die Hard. That's not a car movie. Okay,
we make the rules. You don't. So
wow. Yikes! Ouch.
It's up to us if we want to do something.
We're very, very aggressive on this podcast.
I do eventually. I do want to do It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm gonna pick out a couple car episodes.
Yes.
Because there's
a
running gag that Dee's car keeps getting destroyed.
Really?
Well, yeah. In like at least like once a season, they destroy Dee's car in some way.
We might want to do the one where they run the car into the brick wall.
That's the first time they do it when they try to fake their death. There's another one where there's a whole bunch of them where Dee's car gets destroyed. I don't want to go too much into it, but we will do a It's Always Sunny episode.
It's Always Sunny is a great example of, to me, just the one thing I do want to say, because we don't get to that episode soon, the best dark comedy writing I've ever seen.
Speaking of which,
absolutely
they
awesome.
just started
Perfect.
an It's Always Sunny podcast. I think I told you this, did I?
You did. I would love to.
They
hear
go
that,
episode through episode.
Okay.
So like the first episode of the podcast coincides with the first episode of It's Always Sunny.
Oh, okay, great.
They kind of like talk about it and stuff. And it's interesting hearing them talk because they talk. They're like, these people are horrible.
Oh,
and it's like it's so great
great
hearing them say like, well, you have to put yourself into the mindset of like, what would a scummy person do in this situation?
Exactly. Yeah. That is absolutely true. And that's part of dark comedy that's really tough to do, is to really have really terrible characters that don't grow, that don't learn, that are completely oblivious to how horrible they are, and they get run over like a steamroller. I mean, they get trashed, and then the people around them are like, you guys suck.
I will say, season 15, the final episode of It's Always Sunny, for the season at least.
Oh, okay, good.
I think they're signed on through 18 or something.
I hope so.
It actually does get emotional and serious.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
For like a quarter, I mean, for a couple of minutes, but I won't spoil it because
please don't, because I'm starting to go through them again, and I really enjoy them.
Watched all the way through It's Always Sunny twice in the last month.
Yeah.
The entire series.
Well, and it's funny too, because I know we're going off on a tangent here. Obviously, like we don't ever do that.
Always do it.
But Seinfeld was actually a dark comedy. The characters were not supposed to be likable.
I would say, honestly, I don't know if it was meant to be, but I would say Friends was a dark.
It could have been.
I know. I don't know if it was supposed to be.
A little bit, maybe.
But my girlfriend and I were talking after we watched it, and I was like, it would suck to be these people's friends. They blow people off without. They lie so much to each other.
Wait a minute, you talk to your girlfriend?
I do occasionally.
Just kidding. It's a joke.
But yeah. Also, something else I want to say about Sunny before we get. We need to do a Sunny episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that there was a couple of episodes that got removed from Hulu because of
Really?
cultural insensitivity.
Oh.
Because they do blackface in a couple.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Which was completely as a joke. It wasn't like they were seriously doing blackface.
No.
But it's funny because they did a new episode and they talk about, because the episodes that got removed were, they made Lethal Weapon 5 and 6.
Right. Yes,
and
exactly.
Mac does blackface in that episode. And so it got removed from Hulu.
Okay.
So they do an episode where their Lethal Weapon movies got pulled from the local library. And they have a whole dialogue of like, well, we kind of deserve that.
Okay.
There's no changing the past, but let's be better in the future about it. And like they move on, and it's like a total tongue in cheek of like, it actually got removed from Hulu, which is funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Well, and
very self-aware show too.
Speaking of being self-aware and talking about previous episodes, this movie constantly goes back to the fact that this actually, there was a previous movie called Stand on It?
Yes.
Okay.
So I messed up. I bought you, which actually I totally forgot. What minute marker are we at?
We are at, I've got to check this, 28:33.
So I'll remember 28. So I got you this movie for Christmas.
Yes, you did.
And we will cut to a clip of you opening it on Christmas. So audio listeners, just listen to some wrapping paper.
All right,
But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll actually get to see him opening it on Christmas.
Son beat. Poker Run.
It's John Schneider's next movie.
God. After Christmas.
Yeah, it was cool. It was I loved that was a great gift. That was so much fun.
So I didn't realize
So
that.
yeah, this is my Christmas gift, so
Yeah.
I love it. what are we talking
I
about?
didn't realize that this was a sequel.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
So
It's a sequel.
I learned that maybe 15 minutes before we sat down to watch it because I went and looked on IMDb.
True.
And it was like a sequel to
a stand on it.
Stand on It. Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if it said stand on it, but and so the first part of the movie is a complete like
montage of what happened in the first movie.
Right, of the first movie, which is basically a scene-for-scene reenactment of Smokey and the Bandit.
I don't know about scene for scene.
It's a lot.
I think
it's like,
someone in the United Kingdom on a landline described it to John Schneider in Louisiana, and then he made that movie.
Wow,
That's
okay.
what it seems
I think,
like.
Yeah, because that's probably true.
They're like, oh yeah, this is what happens. He's like, okay, that's my movie.
Is that?
Is
he
Vin Diesel.
He's not.
He is Vin Diesel. John Schneider and Vin Diesel are the same person in my mind.
Family. Let's not go back there to Fast February. So we're out of that.
We're done with that.
Yeah. So, but it was a lot of throwbacks to that first movie.
Yeah.
And they reference it many times. And
they break the fourth wall a couple of times and say it's not like, oh, remember when we did that? It was like, oh, the first movie. Like they referenced the movie.
Yes.
And they switched one of the actors. And
yes, they do.
They call it out. They're like, he was like, he like whispers something to John Schneider. He's like, Dave couldn't show up today, so I'm filling in.
Dave couldn't show up. Yeah, just switches it.
Yeah, and then later on, it's the sheriff that's the new actor.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie, his like deputy or son or his son.
I think it's his son. Yeah, his son.
It's like, oh yeah, you weren't here for that. Like when they referenced the first movie, clearly calling it, which is like that's fun, tongue in cheek. I'm sure it was an in-cast joke, but we haven't seen that first movie technically.
Correct.
So, which also, guess what John Schneider said at the end of this movie?
Oh, there's going to be another
third.
one. Yeah, there's going to be a third one.
So I think we've limited ourselves to one John Schneider movie a year.
Yes.
With Christmas Cars being 2021.
Definitely Google John Schneider and go to his website and see what he's got available. I mean, because
he has stand on it hats.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because there's a scene where he gets into a boat, takes his cowboy hat off, and puts on his own merch.
Yeah,
his own hat
that's
from
what you want
his
to see.
actual store.
Spielberg does that a lot.
Yeah. It actually, there's a deleted scene in
George
Jaws
Lucas.
where he's wearing a Universal Studios T-shirt and has one of those giant icy cups.
Yeah, Spielberg is like walking in the background on the beach, and he's got a big icy cup and a hat.
I can't do a Spielberg impression.
What's going on here?
What's going on with the big shark? You know what's funny is actually to bring it full circle. The guys on the It's Always Sunny podcast do an impression of Steven Spielberg.
Do they really?
They work in the same building as him. Their editing bay is in the same building.
No way.
And when they do video now, but they used to do audio only, and they're like, "Oh, Spielberg's stopping by." You're like, "Hey, God!" Like they used to do.
Seriously?
It was.
Oh my
it's really
gosh,
funny. It's a fun bit.
And shout out to Spielberg.
Shout out to Spielberg. My God.
I don't know. I hope he's doing okay in his career. I really hope that it's,
I hope he's getting some dollars for what he's doing.
Yeah. Has he worked since like Jaws? I don't know.
I don't know if he's done. I don't know what he's done recently.
I don't know. It's
Oh, you know what? Didn't he produce Ready Player One?
I think so. I think I mean, that guy's just a phenomenal powerhouse. And
I mean, talk about a talent.
Holy cow! Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway,
the
plot was very hard to follow in this movie.
That was. I think, to me, honestly, that was the most frustrating part of this entire movie was the plot, where they are trying to play a poker game. I can't even explain it to you, but they're trying to play a poker game because the movie's called Poker Run.
I think it's a poker game mixed with like a road rally.
Right.
So
that was kind of the idea that they had on their...
Each hand, which I guess there was only 3 hands in this whole poker game.
Yeah.
And then you would move on to the next one, and one of them they had to take a boat
yeah, and so at the beginning of the poker game, excuse me, I get.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to hack in your
Yeah.
in your ear. But in the beginning of the game, family, they are trying to explain the game,
Yeah.
and I literally got so confused.
So let's talk about that scene.
Number one, I don't know anything about poker, so that might.
I don't know a whole lot about poker either.
You know, so,
although I know that normally you don't drive between locations or hands.
Usually.
Let's talk about that whole
not.
scene because there's a scene that takes place in, I believe, a
Yep.
train car or trailer.
Yes, there is. It's a caboose. Yes,
And several
definitely,
people are talking at the same time explaining the game, which even in real life, if two different people are explaining something to me at the same time, and they're like, oh, and you do this, and you do this. And
right.
I say, shut up, one of you tell me.
Right.
I can't listen to two people telling me something.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
just too hard to follow.
No,
Same
I get
goes
that,
for this movie. The dealer lady was explaining, the old like boss hog type character was explaining stuff.
Yep.
And then also something that I pointed out is that they broke the 180 rule.
Right.
That
Yes,
scene.
many times.
So
many times.
The 180 rule in filmmaking is that you shouldn't ever really move your camera more than 180 degrees in a scene. Meaning that like if you take a shot and John Schneider's off to the left. In the next shot, he shouldn't be on the right side.
Correct.
Because then it disorients you.
Right.
Because it's like, you know, in
flip-flop.
real life, you'll never like simultaneously have a view from one side and the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
It
does throw you off. And,
it's like it's like having two seats at the table. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
So they're cutting back and forth. A bunch of people are talking, and it was hard to follow because they kept shooting the camera from all different angles, and I'm like, wait, I thought he was sitting over here and he was standing over here, but now in my head I can't really picture where everyone was standing or sitting.
Right. And I think part of that, and it might be, I don't know, they may have been trying to go for that, where they were trying to make it cutesy confusing.
Yeah, I get
where
that.
they would say, well, and then you've got to do this or that, and there's a way. It goes back to writing. There's a way that you could do it where it would be funny confusing as opposed to regular confusing.
Yeah.
You need to have, basically when you have a scene like that, you need to have a straight man. You need to have someone, a character that plays along but knows the rules, so they keep the even keel. They keep the patter going, or as far as the truth about how something should work, and then you have other people that complicate that issue. But you always have that one character that stays on path and the logic path stays on that path of logic and says, okay,
the voice of reason.
Exactly. They're the ones that are like, the other people are explaining it to them, and they're explaining in such a complicated way that the person who has the straight path of logic and reasoning, who is basically your character, you are that character. Because you don't know all these rules and stuff. You're supposed to relate to that character. They didn't have anyone like that in the scene. So it was a lot of people talking about confusing things all at the same time. Like you said, too many people talking, so that didn't work. I mean, it's a matter of right out the scene first before you actually act it.
It did have a lot of this would be fun, shoot it this way. Like it had a lot of
exactly, yes.
And
the whole bar scene was like that. Like, oh, this would be just fun. Just have a guy angry at you for no reason at all.
And then
pick
two
a fight.
different people shot guns
and
inside this bar.
And both of them after fire. Can I say both of them? In that. Yeah, okay.
Voice crack at 50 years old.
Yeah. So I have both of them shot into the air with different guns, different people, and both of them shot a kayak out of the roof of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So this kayak comes crashing down as if they had shot the rope holding up the kayak.
Yeah.
So that was in itself just really, really odd, that you would have both people shooting. It was like the same gimmick.
Right.
And also, too, by the way, when you fire a gun, and you know this, again, this happens in all movies, though. Most movies, I should say. Guns are super loud. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
I mean, most people.
Everyone would be deaf.
Everyone would.
room.
Yes, everyone would be deaf, and believe me, people would stop because if you fire a gun inside, people would stop because it's so loud. Literally, your ears would be ringing. And yeah, there wouldn't be people still scuffling around and stuff. It would be like, holy crap, someone's getting,
Yeah.
this is the,
Can we? I would like to take a quick divergent and talk about the kids in this movie.
Oh my gosh!
What
yes.
the actual hell?
Yeah, that was really son of a.
Two.
Yeah, it was just.
There's 2 scenes in this movie.
Yeah, that are disturbing.
Genuinely, like not like oh ha,
right?
Like genuinely disturbing. So basically what's going on is that they're going on this poker run, right?
Yeah.
There's a group of people that then are doing side bets. The dog has left me.
The dog is the dog is now coming over to me, trying to climb over the microphone. By the way, to have me pet her. So,
sounds like. So basically, there's side bets going on.
Yeah.
But then they also have their own stuff going on that they're betting on. They're betting on where a chicken would lay an egg.
Yes. Well, it's where the chicken would take a dump.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I thought I just missed the egg.
No, it was really gross. But I guess that does happen. Zach just hit his head with the microphone.
That's me hitting my.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
But then there's also they're betting on which kid can hold their breath longest underwater. And we're talking about like 5 to 6, 7, 8-year-olds.
We're talking about very, very young kids, and they cut to the scene where you see kids underwater,
and it's super close ups of these kids too.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, are these kids drowning? What's going on? It's very disturbing.
And then there's another scene where they're betting on kids holding on to the monkey bars for the longest.
It's a ladder, I think, that they put up over some.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, but they're holding on like monkey bars. They're holding on, and they're betting who's going to fall first or who's going to let go of the monkey bars first.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's these close-ups of kids hanging with their... their shirts are, like, up, and then, like... Yeah. It's so creepy.
It is very creepy. Like,
I just didn't understand all of that. And going back to filming... Having kids in a movie is like one of the hardest things you can have.
Absolutely,
for a movie.
Definitely.
Especially with kids growing
kids
up
and animals.
Stuff.
Kids and animals.
Kids
Those
and animals.
Two, yep.
Our dog would be the worst actor ever.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
I think putting kids on camera and having kids in things is a very hard thing to do. Not only on the day.
Yeah.
But looking back, because you grow up and being a kid, your ideals are so different. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly who I was at age 6.
Well, but I have videos online from when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. I've grown up with that.
You have.
And
you have.
I've also grown up with hard ridicules.
Sure.
I mean, I get so many negative comments on YouTube and stuff still to this day, and it's not for everyone. I think I have a thicker skin.
You definitely do.
I'll tell my friends. I always send my friends the super mean ones. I mean, people dig into me.
Sure.
At least once a day, I get some type of comment on my weight, or that I should be reviewing cheeseburgers instead of cars. Or I mean, I even did a live stream last night, and they were like, "Can you do a Peter Griffin impression?"
Ah, jeez.
And it honestly doesn't affect me. It really doesn't.
I'm glad it doesn't. You have a thicker skin than I do.
But
please out there, no one ever say anything bad about me. Actually, I don't really care. I'm too old, so it doesn't matter. You can tell me.
I mean,
whatever.
I just imagine these kids in these movies, and we're not being super nice to this movie.
No, I get it.
That's not fair to them, and
no.
I remember, Bo Burnham.
Sure, yeah,
the
absolutely,
musician.
definitely, yeah.
He did a movie called 8th Grade.
Oh,
and it was a kind of like a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
Whatever. And he in an interview, he was talking about filming a pool party scene with all of these 8th grade kids.
Yeah.
And he said that it was, it's a fun scene. The kids are having fun and someone gets thrown in the pool.
Yeah.
But he was like on set, and I respect the ever-living crap out of Bo Burnham for this. He said on set it was the most serious set he's ever been on.
Really?
Yeah, well, because he was saying when the cameras weren't filming, they're getting pointed at the ground. Like between every takes, like there's a counselor talking to all the kids because it's 8th graders in swimsuits.
Yeah, that's a
And
tough time of life.
I respect the crap out of him because he said between every take, he made every camera point at the ground.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
he's like, if we have to reset up the shot, we have to reset up the shot. But there is no funny business with any of that stuff. And like, so filming kids is like.
Yep.
And even with YouTube, if I have a minor in my video,
Yep.
I have to flag it a certain way.
You do?
I make way less money on it.
Okay.
So like, it was funny. I was actually reviewing that the Toy Story truck. I drove the Pizza Planet Toy Story truck.
Yeah.
And the owner was like, "Oh, there's this great big parking lot you should film in. It's a good scenic parking lot. No one ever parks there, and you could get some good shots, whatever." And I go there, and behind it was a school. And there was recess, but I mean way in the distance, and I'm like, I can't even film there. I'm not even going to risk the blurred image of a kid in the distance,
right?
Because that's not
that's not cool. You just can't do it,
and it's not okay. But apparently in this movie it was.
Wow,
bringing all of that back.
Yeah,
it was just so weird and uncalled for. And I remember sitting here and I literally said, Epstein? I mean, I was like, I was freaked out.
Yeah, when you said, I mean, I was very uncomfortable, and you know, for a John Schneider movie to make me uncomfortable about kids. I mean, and there's a scene where this girl is talking to her uncle or something, and he gives her money, and it's
basically, again, the audio wasn't super clear.
Right.
So it's
you
just
didn't know
this
what was
old guy puts his hand on the shoulders of this young girl, maybe 10, 12, and gives her some money.
Gives her money.
I don't remember why that happened.
Which is just very, I very
think
unsettling.
That
and
those scenes could have been done with chickens or literally
something.
betting on anything else.
Yeah.
They
could have
slot cars.
Yeah,
know,
please. And I understand probably. Now this is a theory that we have. We don't know until
let's play some devil's advocate
until John Schneider comes on the show, which he's always welcome.
Open invite.
Always welcome.
Also,
always welcome.
we will fly down to Louisiana to be in the sequel.
Yeah, we will. We will jump on a plane. We will fly down to Louisiana.
Because
we will
there
be
is
in
a
the sequel.
certain home feel about this.
Yep,
where
absolutely.
it feels like a home movie.
It does.
And I think that's what you were getting towards.
Yes.
Is where
yes.
there were probably kids in the town.
Exactly.
Because obviously John Schneider does not live in a very large town. It's very rural.
Yeah, and
I'm sure they put up a local listing and said, "Hey, we're making this movie in the park." And you know, what kid doesn't want to be in a movie?
Absolutely, right. Definitely,
For the devil's advocate, I totally get
Absolutely.
that.
No,
it was just the way it was shot.
Yes, agree. And it was just like, whoa, wait a minute. If they were in like a pie-eating contest or something, maybe a little bit better or something. But
I just feel like the kids should have just been in the crowd cheering and then betting on something else.
Yeah.
Like, betting on kids is just a
weird.
Right. I don't even feel good saying that.
Right.
I feel like I'm putting it on a list for saying that.
Right. That's really pretty awful.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely something.
The dog has drooped her head. For those of you on Poppy Watch, she's drooped her head all the way off the sofa. You would think she's 15 years old, but she's 4.
She's like she's gonna fall off the sofa.
Yeah, but she's just chilling. Has she stopped panting? She was like panting earlier.
Yeah, she's fine now.
Okay,
she's fine.
But
no, it truly was. It was very, very disturbing.
Also,
it would have been. You're right though. If they were cheering in the crowd, totally different.
Right.
That would have been a lot of fun, and they could have appeared in the movie, and I think that would have been great. That's
another scene that kind of made me uncomfortable was when they flipped the coin and it landed on the waitress's chest.
Yes.
And they're like, "I'll get it, I'll get it," and it's just
and
like
the guys just like leaped in, like, "Oh, I'll get it."
It's such.
And they kept making jokes about her cleavage and about about her chest and stuff, and obviously she was put in the movie for eye candy,
right?
But then she also was trying to explain some things, and so go Poppy, go see your brother, Poppy.
She's lost.
I think she's lost. I think she just wants to.
She's leaving. Oh
okay.
no, okay,
oh,
she's going around the other side.
Here.
Okay.
Oh, good girl. Okay, who's the good girl? So, the thing is with the actors and things in this movie, there's a ton of actors. I mean, there's like a lot of people in this movie.
Oh yeah, which makes me think that it was probably like an open casting thing. We're like, hey, we're filming this movie in the park.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Right. An open casting call. all. And
Yeah.
just anybody wants. Which actually, if someone in our town was doing that, I'd be like, hey,
I'd
that's
show
fun.
up.
That's,
Yeah, why not?
show
Yeah.
up. Why not? It's fun.
That's the thing is that,
Yeah.
we're two jabronis sitting on the
Right.
couch in
in
Illinois.
the Midwest.
Yeah.
The mid.
And this is down in Louisiana,
and-
it's southern.
And they're having fun. And afterwards, actually, you see people saying how much fun they had being in the movie and stuff. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I think John Schneider actually has a great moral compass. I think he's certainly fine person. It was just that some of the scenes could very well be taken very poorly.
Yeah.
Lots of shots of the flag.
Lots of Confederate
flags, lots of that, and
which I personally think could have gone without in this movie.
yeah.
I guess that's their thing.
Well, and what about the weird Confederate soldier in the beginning in the chopped up?
That was a cool rat rod.
It was a rat.
Like
it was a cool rat rod. It was very.
It was like
cool.
it almost looked like a Model A, or it was like a
Yeah.
T-bucket rat rod
Yeah,
that was like slammed to the ground, and it was a
a
Confederate
32
soldier
Ford, yeah, just slammed.
with a giant Confederate flag on the back.
Yeah.
And he was a Confederate soldier. And then they don't bring him in until the end of the movie
Right.
where they fire a cannonball.
Right.
But
Well,
that's it.
But also, too, I mean, honestly, the fact he was African American, and he was a Confederate soldier
Right.
with the flag on the back. So I was like, what are you guys doing or saying?
It
or
was
what
very strange.
very awkward. And again, one of those scenes that just was kind of cringy and made me feel weird.
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't.
just,
Yeah. it
yeah,
just-
I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel that they have history with the flag.
Yep.
If you want my true thoughts on the Confederate flag, I ripped into it on the Christmas cards episode.
Well, that is true. Yeah, we did talk
so
about that.
Go
but
have fun with
that's
that
fine.
one. But
No,
whatever.
It's again, we're just talking about our feelings and about our reactions to the
Yeah.
actual movie and stuff. And some of the stuff that was in there, just
Yeah.
made me feel a little bit weird. Plus the fact too, again, the plot, the plot was, and the story itself was very confusing.
Mhm.
Again, why? Okay, so here's a very, very initial. Let's just bring it down to the basics levels.
Yeah.
Okay, they're having a poker game
Right.
for one hand, $2.5 million on the table, right?
Yeah.
So normally, the only reason why you would have a game like that, or the only reason why you would do a game like that, is to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And so each player, has a buy-in, which I learned from James Bond in Casino Royale, which is a buy-in which says, okay, you have to put in so much money. You're going to put in $500,000. So they're telling the guy who puts together the card game tells the people you have to put a buy-in of $500,000.
Right.
And they say, well, these 4 or 5 people who are in the poker game say, well, no, I don't have $500,000. And the guy who's doing the poker game says, oh, that's okay. I'll spot you the $500,000.
Everyone but John Schneider didn't have the money. John Schneider was the only one that put in his own money.
Yeah,
because it was the money he won from the first movie.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but I thought they were spotting all of them. I thought that maybe
the guy
I
was
don't know.
spotting everyone but John Schneider
Oh, okay.
because John was like,
Oh,
he was like, I'm the only one that would actually
Oh.
potentially lose something.
Gotcha.
In
Okay.
this.
So
but, like,
maybe
yeah,
that
it was weird
so
because why
confusing.
would someone fund a poker game?
Right.
They wouldn't benefit.
Right. That's the whole thing, is that there was no logic in there at
Yeah.
all. You couldn't go through that and go, okay, so if he did this, blah, 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 blah. It was like, well, let's just throw a huge number, and so that at the end someone can win a lot of money, but then actually leading up to that point, there was no logic to how it all worked. And, unfortunately, I tend to be a logical person. So when I can't figure out something, I can't figure out the logic of something, it should be really, really, the story of a movie, the actual story itself should be simple enough, high concept, that you can easily communicate it in a couple sentences.
Right.
You could just say, whatever. I mean, and you can pick almost any movie, and you could explain it, and people would generally get the concept of what's going on. But this was like, we're just going to throw out some stuff. We're just going to play around and do some stuff. And
Yeah.
again, if you just want to play around and make a movie, that's fine.
If we want to talk about illogical, do we want to talk about that first police chase?
Oh, yes. Definitely want to talk
So-
about that. Yes.
So
Yes.
John Schneider's character starts getting chased by the police, and we'll talk about the cars here in a second. Are we still recording? We good?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're definitely. No, we're sorry, we're.
So he evades the police by driving down this peninsula, I assume, or driving up to a lake.
He drives up to a lake.
Stops and reverses.
Yes.
The cop is chasing him.
Yes.
The cop drives past him while he's reversing.
Yeah.
And keeps saying, "Oh, he's so good at driving. He's so good."
Yeah, the cop is saying
He's
so good at driving. He stopped and backed up.
He stopped and backed up.
Straight.
The cop flies past him,
Yeah.
doesn't stop where John stopped,
Yeah.
and goes into a lake.
Right. What? Yeah,
It made
that was the response.
no sense at all.
That's what we both were like. Wait, what? I
Yeah.
mean, so as he's driving towards the lake, he slows down and stops right before the lake. The cop comes up. The cop is driving towards him. He begins to back up. The cop is saying, "Wow, he's a great driver." I guess because he's never seen someone back up a car before.
You know who I think this scene was written by?
Why? Who?
Steven Seagal. Doesn't it seem like it?
Oh my gosh!
Because it's way too much praise for a normal maneuver.
Right.
And
Yes.
it's like such a basic maneuver.
Yeah.
Put it into drive. Put it into reverse.
Literally, not even turning while he was
No.
driving. Not even turning while he was backing up.
No.
Literally backing up. Now, if he was parallel parking, I would have said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
bravo,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely, bravo. You can parallel park. That is
Right.
that is an
100%.
awesome driver."
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He was literally going straight backwards, and the cop was saying, "He's such a great driver. He's such a great driver." And then, obviously, he's a great driver to the cop because the
Yeah.
cop can't even put on his brakes
Right.
to stop from going into the lake.
Nor can any cop turn on their lights in this movie.
No
It was
cop
just
lights.
all added siren
Yeah,
afterwards.
all
so they-
cop lights.
I'm going to assume some permits weren't
Pulled.
Weren't pulled
Yeah,
there.
I think you're right. I think they didn't exactly
yeah.
have no cop lights, just sirens.
What time are we at now?
We are at 55 minutes.
So we can get into cars at this point.
Yes, let's get into
a couple
cars.
of interesting cars. A couple Crown Vics, couple
Lot of-
chopped
yeah,
up Crown Vics.
Crown Vics,
I
definitely.
assume that has to do with the first movie. They knocked the roof off of this Crown. She went upstairs. The
Did
dog
she?
went
Okay, the
upstairs,
dog.
yeah.
The dog has left the,
The
building.
dog has left
Poppy
the
has
podcast.
left.
Our first walkout of the podcast.
Poppy said, "No, not for
No,
me,
she's-
man."
she's done.
After that, she's That's it. I'm done. Yep.
A ripped up Crown Vic, missing the doors, missing the roof, which they destroyed in the first movie.
Yes.
It's a vehicle carried over. There's also Fiero.
Yeah, that was actually a really cool Fiero. I like that
I
one.
assume that was the 4-cylinder. It didn't have any
Probably.
wing on the back.
Red.
It was just a red
standard
Fiero.
red Fiero. Clean. Very
really clean car.
Yeah.
And then John, his character, Duke, drove a
Who
very
is John, by the way? Who it's
Yeah.
well, it's very confusing. Go ahead.
The main character drove a Dodge Challenger, like a newer Dodge Challenger.
Yes.
I had a couple things about it.
Yeah,
First
okay,
of all,
go ahead.
it
yeah,
has
just explain
the,
it. Explain it.
It has the livery from the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit on it. So it's black. It has gold wheels, and it has the bird on the hood. It also has custom T-tops.
Yes.
The Challenger never ever came with T-tops. I don't think any modern car really past the early 2000s for like the Firebird had T-tops. They're just not safe.
Yeah, but it was a Hellcat.
It was. That's the thing. So in the diner, he's like, "I need the keys to my Hellcat."
Yeah.
It's not a Hellcat.
No,
So the Hellcat is the top, well, pretty much, top trim of the
and
Dodge
you've driven
Challenger.
one, right?
I've driven
Yeah,
a couple of them.
yeah. Oh, a couple. Okay,
I've
wow.
driven manual and automatic.
Oh, all right. Wow.
I've also driven one that has a smaller pulley, bigger injectors, and made 1,000 horsepower.
Wow. Wow. Cool. All right. Yeah.
But his was automatic too.
Yeah.
But he's like, "I need the keys to my Hellcat." It's not a Hellcat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the Hellcat grill. It doesn't have any of the Hellcat accents.
And it looks like the Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit.
right.
Yeah.
And so, but the big difference is that the Hellcat has the 700 horsepower. The regular Challengers make like 4 something.
Okay.
400-ish horsepower.
I'll give you
But
that.
they use the supercharged noises from the Hellcat
right.
in the audio.
Yes.
But it's just
That-
not a Hellcat.
You know, that bothered you big time.
It bothered
you were,
me a
you
lot
can't-
because,
you were
like-
no, they're still using that sound. It's still
honestly,
Hellcat.
if he was like, my
does not have a
Challenger-
supercharger. You said that.
Yeah. And honestly, if he was just like, "Oh, the keys to my Challenger," that would have been fine. Challengers are good cars.
Or my car.
Or,
If you
or my
could just
car.
say,
Or, yeah.
I need the keys to my car.
Right. Or like, the Challenger, in my opinion, it's a big boaty car. It is very, very boaty and large and not very good visibility. But they're fun to drive. I drove a Scat Pack, which is likely what this car was.
Really? That's what they call it?
Yeah, a Scat Pack
Okay.
is like the 392, so that's like the 6.4 liter V8,
Okay.
naturally aspirated, all that stuff. I drove one of those on the Strip when we went to Vegas. Remember I reviewed a car that one morning?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I reviewed a Scat Pack
Yes.
Challenger
Okay.
and actually did the videos.
I didn't know that it had a Scat Pack.
I did the exterior video in the parking lot of the world's largest gentleman's club. So I was it was called like Emeralds or something, or
okay.
Pearls.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, he called
Shout
it a
out to
Hellcat.
the
No shout out to. Oh no,
Gentlemen's
you know
club.
what? I think it was
Okay.
Sapphire.
Sapphire.
Welcome to the stage, Mercedes
Sapphire
Club. But yeah,
Okay.
I've only seen strip clubs in movies. I've never been.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't plan on it. But have you been to one, by the way?
For my bachelor party.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was forced to go. Seriously, I forced to go.
I
Seriously.
don't know this
The
story.
the only time ever in my entire life
Yeah.
that I had to. I'm like telling you stuff. The only time ever in my entire life I was forced to go to a strip club. I was so. It was terrible. It was absolutely awful. I felt horrible.
Yeah.
I was so it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was really, really a difficult, horrible time, especially when I was on stage.
Oh,
So-
God.
Yeah. That was
You
really,
got pulled
really
on stage?
I did, because they said it was
Oh, yeah,
it's this guy's bachelor
yeah.
party. So they pulled me on stage. I wanted to die.
Oh, I'm sure.
I would have been happy to have just like all of a sudden had a heart attack and just died or whatever.
Do you
But it's-
consider
it's
yourself
horrible.
an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends. Yeah.
It does depend, because I know you're a very good people person.
Well, I try. Yeah, I can be. Well, that
but
comes
that
from my dad.
situation
But I can.
seems like social suicide to you.
Yes, it was awful,
Um,
awful, awful. You talk about like being so self-conscious and and having the DJ up in the booth shouting things about you.
God.
While it just that was a horrible, horrible. And guess what?
Oh, God.
Of course, after that happened, none of my friends who got married ever invited me or allowed me to be a part of their bachelor parties, because they knew I would get back at them and take them to a club where they would. So no one, like, it was like, oh, we're not going to let Gary, get back at us. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
it was
God.
really awful. It was.
Yeah. I can
really
imagine.
bad.
Jeez.
So, it was awful. Very embarrassing, the whole thing. Just bad. You talk about getting comments on YouTube. This was like,
I mean,
literally.
that's in person. That's different. You know?
No, this was like lights shining on you. You're on a stage. It's a dark room. And it just totally uncomfortable. It was bad. Very, very bad.
Yeah. Oh,
so thank you for bringing up that really horrible, hideous
sorry.
time.
I,
no, and then never again. Never again.
I have something we can cleanse the
All right.
palate with,
Okay.
if you'd like.
Thank
I
you.
forgot to play this audio.
All right, let's do that.
So when I was down in Florida, I drove something called a Ford Telstar.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the Ford Telstar is just a sedan from the 80s that was sold in Australia.
Okay.
And to my knowledge and the owner's knowledge,
Yeah.
this is the only Ford Telstar ever imported to the U.S.
Oh,
so I
cool.
am one
That's
of
very
two
cool.
people to ever drive a Ford Telstar on American roads.
Yeah.
So far.
Okay.
And so the Telstar does an interesting thing. By the way, this has nothing to do with Poker Run. This is just a palate cleanser from that
Thank you, from that really
story.
it was thank you very much. Yeah.
When you get out of the car,
Yeah.
it plays a song for you.
What?
Yes. It plays a
Okay.
song when you
All
get out
right.
of the car. And so from what I've heard, people in Australia, like, this is like a part of their culture. It's just like a song that everyone knows. You know, like one of those-
Really?
it's just like one of those things, like on the Telstar forums, people were talking about how, like, they hum this, like, to their kid,
No
like as
kid-
a lullaby.
Is it a known song? Okay, you're gonna
So
play it. aren't
I
you?
play it. Yeah,
Okay,
I have
all
the
right.
Telstar chime.
Okay. All right.
I think it's like such a cute song, and
Okay.
we'll cleanse our palates and get
All right.
back to
Thank you.
back to Poker Run.
cry.
I know,
I'm
right?
gonna cry. It's a very cute little.
The first time
What
I
is
heard
that song? Do you know what it is?
The gauge cluster just plays that every time you turn off the car.
Wow, that's sweet.
I know.
That is
It,
seriously, it's a sweet.
When I heard it, I got
beautiful tune,
emotional because
Yeah.
the owner was telling me, he was like, some guy messaged him,
Yeah.
or posted something, and he was like, I can't find this song. I don't have my Telstar anymore.
Yeah.
I can't find the song, but I hum it to my son every night for him to fall asleep. It's like so ingrained.
Wow.
Because every time you turn off your car, it plays you a
Yeah,
song.
that's true. I guess that would be
You
like
know.
if you're a rock star and you want
Yeah.
to get your song known,
Yeah.
get it put into a car
Yeah.
that every time you turn it off and open the door, your song is going to come on. And,
Yeah.
Sweet child of mine.
Yeah. But I thought that was such a cool audio clip.
That is
to
a
have.
very,
And
very
it's like
cool.
a sweet
It's so,
song.
It is. It's
you know.
nice.
So
maybe-
back to Poker Run.
kinda
The
made me
positive
tear up,
vibes
yeah.
have
No,
flown back in.
And no, that's all good. And I think, back to, I mean, again, going back to, oh gosh, I mean, where do we, I mean,
We were
part-
talking about the Challenger. That's what
Yes.
brought us
And-
to
and yeah, the Challenger, I mean, the cars are fun in the movie. There's a truck that is like all beat up,
Semi-truck,
a semi-truck that's beat up, but
Also, Confederate flag on the grill.
Confederate, yes. But the other thing that you mentioned too is that as they race,
Yeah.
from one place to another, very odd, to get the next set of cards, which, by the way, evidently the woman who is
Dealer.
dealing the cards is supposed to be flying in a helicopter
Oh,
from
yeah.
place to place.
Which there's one shot of.
Right, one
I
shot of-
assume. I assume.
it's a stock footage.
No. Well, there's one shot of
Yeah.
a helicopter.
And the Getty Images is still on the, the watermark.
No, there was a watermark.
No.
Not on that footage,
Okay,
but remember when the rich guy who's organizing it was talking?
Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
I pointed it out to you.
Yes, there is.
There was like
There's
a
very
watermark
bizarre-
or like a burned-in image.
Yeah, there's like a
on his face. It was
So-
just a red square.
But it was I'm sure it was done in post, and it was like a red square that was put over his mouth to, I guess, to try and make his mouth, the color of his mouth match the rest of him or something. There was some sort of color matching or trying to do some sort of filter effect or something over his mouth. But it's very evident. You can definitely see it. And
Yeah.
the color of the font or the color of the titles and the fonts and all of that stuff needs work. Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of work. So, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, she's supposed to be flying helicopters
Yeah.
to like each location, which like there's no landing zones.
No, there's nothing. And there's no helicopter.
There's no helicopter ever seen
No,
in any
never.
of it.
And,
Also, one of the things they have to do is on the way back to
Yeah.
the main area to finish the poker game.
Yep.
They had to do 2 laps of a dirt track.
Yes.
Which there was a race going on, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing the race."
The guy in the booth. Well, first of all, and then they had the boat race. Remember the boat race? There was not
Oh,
an
yeah.
intelligible sentence in that entire boat
okay,
race.
so they go to the dirt track, and
Yeah.
the announcer is talking, and the dirt race it's dirt,
Okay, so
legit
it's-
dirt track
yeah, it
cars
is. Yeah.
going on while these
Yeah.
people are like driving on the track too. John and all the people in the poker game.
Yeah.
Can you quote one thing to me that the announcer said? I
Yeah,
will give you.
ab-
I will give you the $2.5 million.
Okay, all right.
If you can quote back to me one
Absolutely.
full sentence.
Easy.
Dirt track. That was really it.
Hey, what?
I remember also he goes pit lane. At some point, someone was on the pit lane. Don't know who,
But-
don't know why,
But
don't
it's
know
like,
where, don't know
well,
when.
we're not going to stop the race, but a semi truck has now entered the
Yeah.
dirt track. So, but we're not going to stop
yeah.
the race. It's all right. Keep going. Just be careful.
Talk
yeah.
about a headache.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then of course if you were in a Fiero out there, you'd be smothered. You'd be like,
Oh yeah, you'd
but-
also probably be Spin City.
Oh yeah,
With
yeah,
the-
exactly. Yeah,
driving
yeah.
on dirt with the engine
Yeah.
in the back. Come on.
Yeah,
bro.
definitely. And then you had the broken down car. Now you have to remember that there was a lot of what they called homages to Smokey and the Bandit.
And homages to Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run.
And right, exactly, to both. So you had what?
I just remembered the Burt Reynolds impersonator.
Oh my gosh, that is so right. They have a Jackie Gleason impersonator who's playing the sheriff, and
Right.
he does a fairly good job at it. But then in the back seat, they have a Burt Reynolds. I can't even.
Here's the thing.
It
It was a Burt Reynolds impersonator in the back.
Yeah.
And not that this is important.
Yeah.
Was he Asian?
I think so. I think he actually was.
It
or
didn't
some-
look like
some-
Burt Reynolds.
He was some ethnicity of some kind, but he wasn't.
That wasn't Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, it didn't match, and the shape of his head, things like that, just
Also-
didn't match Burt Reynolds. Yeah.
When did they use them ever again in the movie?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
So it was one scene where the guy's getting into the cop car with
Yeah.
the Jackie Gleason
Yep.
impersonator and Burt Reynolds, rest in peace, impersonator.
Yep. I think Jackie Gleason's gone too, right? I think they're both.
Ooh, I don't
rest in
know.
peace for both of them. Yeah. This is the Whisper podcast.
Yeah.
so. Anyway,
but it was a very weird scene and then never brought up. There's so many things in this movie that were brought up, like the bar fight, and then never mentioned again.
Nope.
It's not like
nope.
like it would have been cool to have seen the guy who started the bar fight at the end of the movie, like cheering him on or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
Well, and they do a lot of callback. In fact, in that scene, in that bar or whatever, they do a lot of callbacks to Smokey and the Bandit, because during that movie, Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey stops in the same restaurant that Bandit has stopped in because they were getting some food, and they were both ordering, or actually the sheriff was ordering the Diablo chicken sandwich with a Dr. Pepper. And that was a very famous, that was a very memorable
Almost
thing.
like Orange Whip.
Yeah, exactly like Orange Whip from
Blues
Blues Brothers. So, John Candy. So, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to all candies. Reese's,
right.
Hershey's, M&M's, Twix.
Exactly.
A lot. Go
Not
on.
sponsors, but they could be. Anyway,
Go on.
so
And what are those Mallow cups? That
Mallow
we had on the,
cups.
Mallow
Love
cups we had
the
on
Mallow
the pod.
cups.
We had on the podcast.
Yeah, that was really
podcast
good.
alumni.
Yeah.
Mallow cups.
It's a long time
Yeah.
ago, but yeah, we've
Sorry,
forgotten to like actually eat food at every single podcast.
Yeah, because it's
but
awful.
It is.
It's
yeah.
awful.
It
No
is
one
really
wants to
different.
listen to that.
No,
one.
it's
No one wants to listen to that.
It's very bad. I agree.
Yeah.
But they had that callback, and so everyone in the bar or the restaurant was that Poppy?
Did I hear a bark?
I think Poppy just barked.
Okay.
Okay. So I was gonna say Poppy, but everyone in the bar was ordering the chicken or the Diablo chicken sandwich with a Dr. Pepper. Everyone tried to order
Yeah.
that, and then the woman was trying to say some clever line about we only have cheeseburgers and burgers with cheese and taters, and it's like, okay, you're trying to like have a funny line here or a funny bit.
Yeah.
It's not working. There was a lot of things like that. They were trying to do funny bits
Yeah.
that just didn't work. And
It seems like a lot of the people like, oh, do you want to be in this movie? Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they went home and they're like, oh, I should do this. Like, like everyone brought something
Yeah.
to the table, which is a
Right.
fun creative
yeah,
process.
It is. That
But
is
also,
fun.
it doesn't really work in a final cut where
No,
everyone
because-
tries to get their joke
right,
in.
because everybody's trying to get the joke and everybody's trying to get their stuff or whatever, and absolutely that doesn't really work at the end of the day, or when you're trying to put something together that's cohesive.
Right.
Yeah, we're at 1:12, so
Oh, wow.
we should probably start wrapping that up. And
Oh, the other callback that I thought was kind of weird was when they were leaving originally from the trailer to go to the first hand or whatever.
yeah,
I forget who, but they go, I love it when a plan comes together.
yes,
I'm like, was that an
that's an
A-Team
A-Team
reference?
reference.
Like, did they just go through the
Shout out to
encyclopedia
Mr.
of
T.
80s movies and
Yeah,
just
shout out
like
to-
pull
yeah.
out quotes?
I'm sorry, Mr. Belvedere was mentioned several times. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Neither was Different Strokes or
Yeah.
anything else like that.
And the
or...
movie ends with Ferris Bueller going, "Are you still here? It's over." I thought about using
You
that.
sounded just like Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a good Jim Gaffigan imitation. But yeah,
I don't think he likes it.
I don't
very
think
much.
he's doing
I-
that voice again. Yeah,
Well, that was Gilbert Godfrey.
I'm not doing Gilbert Godfrey because I absolutely am terrible at any kind of imitations of people. I'm doing this again. It's almost there.
I
Almost
just
there.
listened to a podcast
Yeah.
recently with Jim Gaffigan on it.
Yeah, I love Jim.
He has a new
Gaffigan. He's
Netflix
hilarious.
special.
Yes.
Shout out to that, I
yeah.
guess.
And he actually has a YouTube channel where he's cooking. It's called Let's Get Cooking.
Oh, really?
And it's hilarious.
Oh, interesting.
And he cooks like hamburgers and
Yeah.
he makes like, whatever. But
You know
it's
he
just
has
funny.
5 kids.
He does. And his 5 kids are in the YouTube.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And it's awesome because his family seems like,
Yeah.
his kids seem like the coolest.
Yeah.
I mean, I would want to hang out with the whole family because I
Yeah.
just think they would be fun people. His wife is charming. His kids are cool.
His wife,
just-
well, she wrote a book. She had a brain tumor, I think.
Oh, no.
Or some type of tumor, and she
No,
wrote a
that's too
book
bad.
about it. And she did like some comedy writing too.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
she's very funny.
Yeah,
as
she's
well.
very talented as well. So very cool people. They're people that I would love to hang out with, probably because
Yeah.
they remind me of some of my other friends. But
Yeah.
so yeah, Jim Gaffigan's hilarious. Definitely watch his YouTube. Let's Get Cooking, and he has a whole series like that.
Yeah.
It's just
I
fun stuff.
forget his new special name.
He-
I just watched it the other
And
night.
he did that. He cooks for his kids, and it's
Yeah.
hilarious because his kids actually film him, and they also are in it.
Yeah.
And you see them sitting around the table like, yeah, whatever, Dad. And being total kids.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny. He talked about it in the podcast that his oldest daughter's favorite comedian is John Mulaney.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I
is
heard that was
great.
great. He says something about her going out for Halloween dressed up as a comedian.
Yeah.
and
she
she's-
went out as John Mulaney.
Right,
so.
exactly. Yeah,
Shout out to
so-
John Mulaney. He just had
Yeah.
a kid.
Oh, yeah,
and
shout out.
he's-
Congratulations. That's good.
He
That's
went to
good
rehab
news.
recently, and
Well,
he's-
that's not
he's
so
back
good news,
out.
but I'm glad
but
he's
back out now.
Back out, that's
I think
good.
doing well. So,
All right, excellent.
yeah,
So,
so we'll start wrapping
all right.
up here.
Yeah, I think so. I'll say. So
Yeah.
if it was on TV, would you change the channel?
Yes, I would not
Would
watch
you?
this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
I was actually I remember watching the boat chase scene or
Yeah.
the boat.
Yes.
Which also
Homage to James Bond.
homage
and
to James Bond because he
and,
jumps over the road
he
in
jumps.
a boat.
He jumps over the road in the boat, and which was taken directly from Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
The first Roger Moore James Bond movie,
Mm-hmm.
and great scene. Actually, that's a great stunt. They
Yeah.
actually showed it, and they had a great stunt. They had some really
They
neat
had some
stunts in
good
here,
stunts.
too.
I think they wrecked a Challenger
I think they did
because they
I think
jumped the
they- yeah.
Challenger and
Yeah,
you see
they
the
did.
front end come off, which
yeah,
which
definitely.
I don't. Something tells me they didn't have a CGI budget. Something inside me is telling me that.
There's a hint to the fact that they didn't have any kind of CGI. Budget.
Yeah, but I was actually thinking during the boat scene, and I was like, I will never see this movie again.
Yeah. Were you?
I
well,
was like, man,
there was-
soak it in.
It was so funny because at one point they kind of fade to black and you're like, okay, that's the end of the movie. Oh no!
the
and
next
then,
scene, and I was
and
like,
the next scene comes.
No!
The next scene comes and you were so upset. You're like, there's more of this. There's more.
I genuinely thought it was over
I know,
because,
you
like,
did. I know.
he
It's
said he was like, I think they were talking about like, oh, we got to do double or nothing or something, or like, there's like one last thing we have to do.
Yeah.
and then it faded to black. And I was like,
Yeah, right. And you're
I was like, John Schneider,
okay,
leave me on a cliffhanger.
Right, yeah.
And it was
And
like the next scene, and I went, no.
Son of a.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
oh, the
no, it
dog
was-
is back.
Oh,
She heard the screaming.
Okay, she heard that. Yeah, actually, she gets very upset when she hears.
Oh,
a
does
scream.
she?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Come here. Hey.
She gets freaked out when she hears
Oh,
a scream,
really?
which is most of the time. You know,
Yeah.
90% of our day is screaming at each other.
Yeah.
So I just
And
want you to
talking
know.
over one another. Poppy, come here.
It's a
oh,
ve-
you're so sweet. Come here.
It's a very,
Come
very.
here.
Actually, that's so hilarious because our house is so. Our house is so quiet.
It's so quiet.
It's so
yeah.
quiet. It's so
Nice,
calm and
sweet.
quiet. It's really
do
crazy.
you have
It's
to
like
say?
a library in here. Oh, there's the dog again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's-
so it's very good. So,
Favorite guest so far?
and if would I change the channel? I guess that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Would I change the channel? Actually, no, I don't think I would change the channel. I mean, I'm not saying that this was like my favorite movie or all that. I'd probably leave it on as just some craziness, but I wouldn't actually. I would. You know what I would do? I would leave it on, but I would turn the volume completely down to 0.
Yeah.
So I could see the cars running around and stuff, and that would be fine. It
Here's
just
the
kind of
thing.
distraction there. I would not sit down and watch it.
I duct tape you to a chair. You have to watch this or
Yeah.
Rush.
Ah, please don't make me do that. You know what? In all honesty,
Poppy.
okay.
She-
She's
The,
trying
the
to.
dog is walking over the equipment.
Yeah,
and
if we suddenly get cut off
tugging
here,
the
it's
cape.
because of.
Hop up here. Come here.
All
Come
right,
sit
so,
with me. Good girl. Okay.
But yeah, if you made me sit and watch either one, and this is my honest answer, this one.
Wow.
I would not watch Rush again, ever.
Wow.
That is how much I don't like the movie
I think at some
Rush.
point in the future we need to revisit Rush. I'm being
maybe
serious.
maybe okay. I could
Just-
probably give it another shot.
I think
but
here's what I think we should do.
yeah.
I think
okay.
we should.
Is
think
there
we
Rush 2?
No, the Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo or Rush 3 Tokyo Drift?
Tokyo Drift. I think we should do a podcast about F1 Drive to Survive.
All
if
right,
you
yeah,
ever get more
that's
through that.
yes, yeah. I'll get more through that. I started doing that. I got to the second episode of the second season. So
Oh wow, okay, so
I
you got
did,
to the
yeah.
second season.
yeah, I did get the second. So
I think we should do an episode about that, and then maybe later we can revisit Rush.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
with
fine.
Fresh
That's
F1
all right.
eyes.
Fine. I can watch it again, but I just because one of the main tenets of a good story or a good movie is that you have to have relatable characters, and I could not relate to either character. I couldn't do it.
I also
So.
couldn't relate to characters in this movie. Though. I mean, I was thinking about that too.
yeah,
I'm like, there's no.
That's probably
At
true,
least
yeah.
in Christmas Cars, there
Yeah.
was kind of a
Yeah.
coming of age, not coming
There-
of age,
well,
but like
yeah, kind of.
the actors, not actors, the characters learned.
right.
There was a problem.
Yes. Well, and you know what? Honestly, that is like the main part of any story is you need to have a problem you're trying to fix throughout the whole movie. And
I don't
this
know
movie
if there was
didn't-
much of one in this.
Well, there wasn't a main problem. There was a device, which was the game,
right.
to try to move the scenes along,
But to be
to
fair,
string them together.
it's like, oh god, we got a race place to place, and they kept saying this
Yeah.
isn't a race. This
It's not a race.
poker
It's a
run.
play. Yeah, it's a poker run.
But then they stop for lunch.
Yeah, they do. They stop for lunch.
So like
which
any forward momentum that they had, I was like, oh, they're
Yeah.
all stopping for lunch. Okay.
well,
that's-
and there's right, and so they're all stopping for lunch, and then there's the big bar fight for lunch, literally for no reason. The
Yeah.
guy comes up to John Schneider. I'm just going to call him John Schneider because
Yeah.
that's just who he is in the whole movie. And someone asks him for his signature, for his autograph.
yeah, for her
For
grandma,
For her great-grandmother.
great grandma, whose name is Daisy.
Whose name is Daisy.
But he's
as in
not
Daisy
playing John
Duke. But he's
Schneider in
not,
the movie.
No, he's not playing the guy who played Bo Duke or Luke Duke. No, Bo Duke in Dukes of Hazzard. He can't say that or
Right.
use that. So the woman comes over and goes, "Hey, aren't you that guy from that show?" And
Yeah.
the one woman, who I think is the same as the woman
Yeah.
in Christmas Cars, says, "Yeah, that's him." And she goes, "Well, can I have your autograph?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure. What do you want me to say? What's your name?" And she goes, "Well, no, it's for my great-grandmother."
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, what's your great-grandmother's name?" Blah, blah, blah. And so there's that funny little thing. But it's like, well, but who are you? Like,
Yeah.
who are you? What is your I mean, there's a lot of loose ends in this whole thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, so
That's
that's it.
Poker
So
Run.
that's Poker Run.
That is
So
Poker Run.
you have the next
I do have
choice
our
for the next movie. So
pick.
what's the next movie?
Our next movie, it's on Hulu, I believe.
Cool.
Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky with Daniel Craig, right?
Daniel Craig,
Yes.
Channing Tatum, and
Okay.
Adam Driver.
Oh, okay.
So quite the little trio.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it. All I know is that it's a heist during a NASCAR race.
Ah.
So pretty big names:
okay.
Daniel
Yeah,
Craig,
Daniel
Channing
Craig,
Tatum,
yeah.
and Adam Driver.
Yeah, during Daniel Craig's run as James Bond. So very much
This
during
is a
that. Yeah, it's just
I
not.
want to say 2019 or 2020 movie.
Yeah, it's.
No, you know what? No, it might have been 2017. I think it was
Might have
2017.
been 2017 or 18. Yeah.
God, the years have flown by.
Yeah. You're way off mic.
Am I way off, Mike? I'm sorry.
No, you're
I'm trying
like
to-
in the other room now.
I'm trying to entertain
Yeah.
the dog.
I
over
know,
here, 'cause
I
she's
know.
A needy
She's-
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needy little. Bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Look
So-
at her.
I know. She's just literally laying her head on the pillow, or actually on your.
She
knee
won't
like
even
that.
hold her own head
No,
up.
she's
while
just tired. I think she wants to
scratch
go to
her.
bed. I
I think so too. It's 9 o'clock.
Oh, it's 9 o'clock. So yeah.
Kind of her bedtime. But
Yep,
yeah, so
okay.
next episode we'll be doing Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky,
If you
okay.
are listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. You can see that little clip of my dad opening the.
Yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, super exciting.
And,
And I think I filmed it vertically, which I'm mad at myself for.
there's a stunt scene in the middle of it, and things
Yeah.
explode. And
If you're watching on YouTube, check us out on Spotify, iTunes, and all that stuff. But
blah blah blah.
we will leave you with the Telstar chime.
Oh,
that sweet little
definitely.
lullaby we'll
Let's
leave
do
you with.
that. Let's do that. Okay.
And we'll see you next episode.
All right.